All right, this video is a lesson to help my students who are working through the Exploring God's Creation with Chemistry textbook, J. Wiley. We're going to talk a little bit about page 168, Stoichiometry, and then I want to introduce page 176. Now, in the previous chapter, we talked about taking an equation and putting it into a tic-tac-toe, all right? And then we can just do ratios in order to solve. And so I'm going to set this box up. It looks like I need one more level here. So this is like a tic-tac-toe. Coming down the side are the names of the compounds: gallium hydrochloric acid, HCl, gallium chloride, GaCl, and then the gas H2. Now the recipe, you remember, the recipe of how this all works is these numbers out front, these coefficients. So I put the 2 here, the 6 here. We have 2 gallium chloride produced and 3. Now we could view this as atoms of gallium and molecules, okay, and see what's produced, or better yet, think of it as moles, okay? And so inside the factory here, the recipe always has to be given in moles, not in mass, always in moles. So let's say, just for fun here, that I want to produce, let's say I want to produce 12 moles of gallium chloride, okay? So now I can figure out how much gallium I need, how much hydrochloric acid is needed, and how much gas will be given off as well. So remember, we cross multiply and then divide. So 12 times 2 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. 12 times 6, 72, divided by 2 is 36. Okay? 12 times 3 is 36, divided by 2 is 18. So now I have the numbers, and again, this is in moles, all right? So now I know the exact amount of moles given off. In the textbook, the author talks about the limiting reagent, or limiting, whether it's a reactant or a product. Let's say we are limited in that we only have 3, coming into this whole process, we only have 3 moles of gallium. Okay, we have an unlimited everything else. The question is how much will be produced, okay? If I have 3 here and I want to know how much gallium chloride is produced, I have to cross multiply. 3 times 2 is 6, okay? Divided by 2, I will get 3. Okay? If I multiply 3 times 3 and get 9 divided by 2, I'll have 4.5 moles of the hydrogen produced. All right, so you see what I did there? Whatever number is the limiting agent, put that in, and then you can calculate everything else. This will tell you as well how much minimum hydrochloric acid is needed. Okay, 3 times 6, 18, divided by 2, we would need 9. All right, now remember, as we talked about, very important, the recipe is in moles and the output is always in moles. Now, that takes us all the way up through page 175. And now, let's introduce this this beefs it up to a whole new level, okay? On page 176, what if they don't give us these numbers in moles, but instead the problem says we want to, or coming in, we have 300 grams, okay, of gallium. So what are we going to do? This is it. We can't put 300 up here, okay, because this has to be in moles. Remember, this is a mole factory. The recipe and the output, everything in this factory, see the smoke coming out? Everything in this factory has to be in moles. So picture that this is the factory, and there's a ramp out here and a truck pulls up, okay? And inside the truck, he has gallium. And he says, I have 300 grams of gallium. And he pulls up and tries to unload it. And the guy at the gate at the factory says, nope, you cannot come in here until you repackage it in moles. We have to have it in moles before you can get it in here. All right, so follow the story now. So the guy in the truck goes in the back, and he's got boxes in there. And so he's going to follow this mole plus recipe. Remember this? We put 1 mole up here. And we've got to figure out how many moles are in 1 gram of gallium. And now, okay, here's gallium, 69.723. 69.723 grams are in 1 mole. Let me grab my calculator here. And we'll do 300. Divided by 69.723, and we'll get 4.3 moles, and that was the 300 grams. Okay, are you with me? Okay. So this is the same as 4.3 moles. So now he can deliver 4.3 moles of gallium. And they have plenty of hydrochloric acid, and they just have a big tank outside. So this is the limiting factor. Using the 4.3, now we can figure out exactly how much hydrochloric acid will be used, and we'll figure out how many moles are produced of gallium chloride and hydrogen. So we'll take 4.3 times 6 divided by 2, 12.9. All right, so that much is going to come draining out of the hydrochloric acid tank. And then this is going to also come out to be 4.3. And then 4.3 times 3 divided by 2, 6.45. Okay? So we go through this whole process. We have the output now in moles. Read the problems carefully. Sometimes we're done. Sometimes they'll ask for the answer. How many moles of gallium chloride will be produced, okay? Or how many moles of hydrogen will be produced? And then you're done. But we had to notice before we started this process, they gave us the information in grams. We cannot put grams into the recipe. Convert it to moles. The moles can come into the factory, and now we can calculate the rest. And you've been doing that. That's not too hard. What if we needed the answer for one of these in grams? Well, as it comes out, there's a truck waiting to pick it up. And let's say the gallium chloride is coming out. So GaCl, and we'll say 1 mole. And then we have here 4.3 moles. And then you can just do the math. So you take the gallium and the chlorine, you add those two masses together, and that's the mass of 1 mole. And then we just cross multiply, divide, and you have how many grams of gallium chloride are leaving the factory. Okay? So I call this the mole plus mole factory. And all the stoichiometry runs in this factory. The recipe is in moles. The output is in moles. Sometimes we have to convert from grams to moles to come into this, and then it comes out in moles, and sometimes we have to convert that back to grams. It depends on the problem and what it's asking for, okay? Sometimes I think it's easier just to do all the numbers, get all the numbers in here inside the factory, and then read the question and choose which answer you need to follow through on. All right? So this is a little different method than what Mr. Wiley presents in the book, but the storyline and the visuals and these, we like ratios, okay? So ratios make it easy to do, and try it on some of the problems on this lesson, and hopefully it'll help.